praise you and thank you still for giving us this platform to gather together and to learn, Lord God. We're asking for your wisdom to be granted upon us, Lord God, that we may be able to not only learn, but we may be able to execute what like all the learnings and knowledge that we will gain tonight, Father. And may you guide our internet connection as well, all the gadgets and all the devices we're using. May we be able to use them accordingly, Father. Lord, we are asking for your blessing to be upon us and use us as well to be channel of blessings to other people that we will meet. This is our prayer in Christ's name. Amen.
And all right. Thank you, Rain. I see you on Facebook, Rain, a lot. It's my first time to finally see you in Zoom. Nice to meet you. Right. So again, thank you, Rain. Let's move on to our quote for the day is Anna. Anna, Elsa, ready? All right, Anna, take it away.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Okay. Thank you. So, yeah, let me just share my screen. Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
I happened to come up across this line na somehow related sa course natin. So, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So it says here, hold on. So this is the only part that you're seeing, right?
Yeah.
The square. You can
The
see my
square, correct.
face.
We can see a tiny bit of you on the screen.
On top. It's great.
Not on your screen.
So yeah, it says here that the only thing certain is death and taxes. So, because I recall seeing the movie Meet Joe Black. I wonder if anyone here has seen this flick. Anyone? There were lines. There were two scenes actually there where this line "death and taxes" were quoted. The line from one of the actor character mentioned this from one of the scenes. So it says there, the way of saying is the deal is sure to happen. And I didn't know during the time that this was originally coined by the American statesman Benjamin Franklin. And the actors here were referencing this phrase that death and taxes are the only things certain in this world. So a confirmation of inevitability that these two are inevitable, unavoidable. Everyone, regardless of wealth or status, must deal with them. So could be a pretty grim quote from Lolo Ben and not entirely inspiring. However, from our perspective as a tax preparer, let's interpret this to mean that tax work will always be around. Individuals and businesses will always need support to understand and comply with tax laws. And it's a good reminder that as future professional, sorry, that's going to be us, will play an important role in keeping things accurate and transparent. After all, taxes aren't just numbers, so they touch real people's lives. And this niche, hopefully, isn't going anywhere. We'll be helping people deal with taxes accurately and with peace of mind. So let's not consider this quote as a just dark humor, rather a reminder that tax preparation is an essential, timeless profession, and hopefully it will not be taken over by AI in the future. So that's my thoughts for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Yeah, I didn't know that came from Benjamin Franklin either. But it has been updated, Anna. It's now
Yes,
a change, tax, and death.
I think there was a writer who
Mhm.
changed it to
Simplification.
this is certain but loss and taxes though. So they remove they changed death to loss because
Yeah,
pretty grim nga naman yung word na death.
yeah, they're different version. By the way, Anna, I think this is my first time to also meet you or see your face.
Yes,
Have you joined us before, or this is the first?
my first time.
All
So
right.
the
We
business
have several
tax.
Anna here, I think. But you're Anna L. Or Anna L or Anna I.
As Ibasco is my last name.
All right. Thank you, Anna. Nice to meet you.
Uh,
Um,
yes, well, yeah.
and yeah, regarding what you just shared, sabi nga ng kanta ni Taylor Swift, will never go out of style, right? If we are tax prepared, we'll never go out of style. And just very timely, I shared with you in the channel in Telegram that video that I had in a call with Brendan, that Brendan's the owner of the Hawaiian tax firm, that, one of you may have the opportunity to be an intern for. He showed me one application. Was it Juno? Yeah, Juno. It's an AI for tax preparation, and it's very interesting. If you happen to be an intern with Brendan, you may learn Juno. He's pretty invested in a lot of software. And if I may also align that with what Kendall said in one of her video that she shared to us. Now is the right time to learn taxes while AI has not, you know, made I would say AI has not taken over the preparation yet, right? So now is the time to learn tax preparation, because by that time AI would enter the scene. You would already have grown mature in your role in the tax profession world, right? You could already be in a review position. You could already be doing uh, tax resolution or representation, or maybe even tax strategy, right? You cannot learn those, or you would not be effective at those roles unless you know tax preparation. And also, Brendan also emphasized this, that one of the things that AI would not probably be able to replace in terms of, I mean, in the tax profession, is that human connection with the taxpayer, right? So the communication with the taxpayer. So a lot of taxpayers would still want to talk to human people, right? Or to humans rather than to robots. So again, while tax is definitely not going away, the tax preparation may be in danger of AI. But then again, we better know how to make ourselves prepared when that happens. Alrighty. Again, thank you, Anna, for sharing that. That's very fitting to what we're doing. Next would be Nora to share with us the tech tip for today. Nora Bakuli, not a new name. I'm not sure if I can associate a face before the name Nora, but I know you've been here for quite a while.
Yes.
So take it away. Oh yeah, now I remember your face.
Yeah. In my yeah, that's all. Okay. I want to share a few things about Google Sheets.
Mm-hmm.
Let me share my screen first.
Sure.
Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Wait, where is it? Oh. Please bear with me. I don't know how to use this.
Right. We are now about to see your screen. It's coming up. There you go.
Is it there?
It is there.
No, where is it? Uh, uh, uh. Please bear with me, please.
Sure.
Wait. How to? Wait. Am I going to close this?
I think you just need to maximize the G sheet. So you have your screen split into two. Just maximize that. It should. Yeah.
No. Why? Why are you only half? Okay. Okay, there it is.
It's loading.
Okay. Okay. First, Google Sheets are almost the same as Excel.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the first thing is renaming. When you click the top name, you can erase it to change the the sheet name.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, ABC operation. Okay. And now, okay, why? Why is it hanging? Okay. And then let me show you. This is the menu bar.
Mm-hmm.
Everything here is also not all of it is in the taskbar. This is the taskbar. This is
Mm-hmm.
the menu bar.
Mm-hmm.
When you click, which it will show all the things that you can do with the Google Sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now the first thing that I is how to open a sheet to make it a table. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You click the corner top so that it will highlight the whole sheet and
Mm-hmm.
then format, then convert to table. Click it.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
It's probably loading.
Okay. And then let me show you what, yes, it is. I, what I did with the, remember the practice we had with petty cash fund of borderless.
Mm-hmm.
I converted it to, to table and it
Mm-hmm.
looked like this. See? Okay. Now let's go back. Okay. Now, what do you want to do with this column? Do you want it to center? You can. Wait, let us first undo the table so that it won't hang. Oh, Control Z. Okay. Let's do what are you doing? If you want this part of your column to center, you
Mhm.
use this part. You use that and you can center the items there.
Mhm.
Slow internet. There. Can you see?
Yes.
Now, this column seems to be money, salary, and bonus. You can do that by highlight it. I have a slow internet connection. Okay. When you click the dollar sign,
Mhm.
there was a problem. I said so. Okay, you can format the column, the number, and you can customize number format. What format do you need? Is it the dollar with the centavos, without the dollar sign?
Mhm.
You can use that and apply. Oh, there's a problem in my
I
system.
think you have to do one column only.
What?
Yeah, just had to select one column at a time.
Okay.
Yeah, try that again. Column, just column D.
Or we'll just choose.
Yeah, you can do that too.
Instead of doing that, yeah, there's a problem. Lily. You can format the number and custom number format. Choose apply. That really is a problem.
Yeah, I
But
think it's
can
not letting
you,
you. You're probably offline, Nora. There's probably an issue with the connection. No worries. That is a very interesting sharing. If we want to continue on Monday to show us that,
yes, sir.
that would be great. And then what I would suggest, Nora, is you can use a Loom recording to record your screen, and then
I
to see your.
haven't practiced it, sir. I
You
practice
haven't
Loom.
practiced Loom. The
Yes,
weekend
I have
you can use.
Loom. I have Loom here,
Yeah, you
but we
can use
haven't practiced.
Loom and practice it over the weekend and see if that's something you can work on and present on Monday. What do you think?
Okay. I'll try, sir.
All right, sounds good.
Okay.
All right,
Thank
let's give it
you.
up for Nora. Thank you, Nora, for sharing that. It's very nice of you. All right, so time check 7:19. No recap for the day as usual. People are not volunteering. Come on, you guys. How many are we in the shared file? 211. Not only Alma and Emma have uh, volunteered to do recaps, but they have chosen the month of November. We don't have people who are interested to do a recap um, between now this until the end of October. So if you guys would want to be recognized, please do so. Right? I would appreciate that. I do appreciate people who participate. It's the only way I know that you're also providing value in return. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Now, let us move on to our quiz. All right, you guys ready for it? Let me just snip the link for just a minute. All right. Please head on to the chat. You should see there the link to the quiz and the code. So the link is that, and the code is 519675. And I'm also going to share my screen right about now. All right, you know the drill. Yes, Monday we had math, and yesterday we had uh, Mel. So let's see who's gonna talk today. Would it still be Mel, or we'll have a new top? Not sure. Can't wait to find out. And ang technique dito guys, pabilisan. And you can use your mobile phones. Right, how many are we? 78. Come on, you guys. You still have time to enter. And then put your name. Don't your number, not the letter R. So that we would know who you are. Huwag maglagay ng name. I guess we can start now. Others can still join in the middle. Or even if the game has already started. All right, you guys ready? Let's go. Good luck. So how many parts does the self-employment tax cover? Huwag malito sa 15.3 guys. Di yan 15.3. Right, it's only 2 parts. How many get the correct answer? Let's find out. 3. So 2 parts lang yung self-employment. That's the Social Security and the Medicare or the FICA taxes. Right, Mel, namumuna. Next, losses disallowed due to personal use can be. This was a topic yesterday. Can be carried forward. Next, rental expenses deductible only if it's a property rented for profit, or if the property is sold, if the property is vacant, or the property is personally used. So only when the property is rented for profit, only then can you deduct rental expenses. Right, undisputed Mel. What is going on with you, Mel? Which schedule is used for rental involves what schedule is used if rental involves personal property? Is it a Schedule C, Schedule D, Schedule E, or Schedule F? Huwag malito dito, guys. This is personal property. Right, it is Schedule C. Schedule E, real property yun, guys, hindi yun personal. Alright, nalito siguro si Melo. Matt coming back. Capital gains treatment applies to which farm items? Capital gains treatment applies to which farm items? Is it on livestock sales? Is it on rental deposits? Is it on government grants? Or is it on crop sales? So yung iba dito nasa Schedule F. Yung iba dito ay yung isa nasa Schedule D. And that is on livestock sales. Yung maintained for breeding. Next, farm income is reported on which schedule? So farm income is reported on which schedule? Is it E, C, F, or E? Madali lang to, guys. It's a bonus question. Right, it is Schedule F. Schedule B is interest and dividends. Schedule C, self-employment. And Schedule E is rental of real property. So Matt is staying on top. I see the mother and daughter tandem in the top 5. Lumalaban. Prepaid rents are included in income when it is earned. Is it at year end, when spent, or when received? Kinover natin yan yesterday. We did several computations, right? So that's when it is received. Pag na-receive yung cash or yung payment. Mel is coming back. Good job, Mel. Next, rental income is usually reported on which schedule? Is it Schedule C, Schedule E, Schedule D, or Schedule F? So rental income, usually that's real property assumed, right? Unless it is specifically stated that it's for personal property, it would mean real property. So that would be on Schedule E. By now, you should already know what Schedule E, right? Schedule C. Hindi na kayo malilito dyan. Right, next. True or false, estimated tax payments for farmers differ from regular taxpayers. Is it true or false? Right, that is true. Majority of you guys got it right. Good job. All right, no change in the scoreboard. Hanging in there tight, huh? Which expense is not deductible for rental property? Is it personal groceries, repairs, mortgage interest, or utilities? Which one there is obviously not a business expense? That could only be personal groceries, right? That's still leading. Mel humahabol. Rental income is excluded if rental period is 15 days or less, exactly 20 days, more than 60 days, or more than 30 days. So, di na daw kailangan pang i-report yung income if it is what? 15 days or less, more than 60 days, exactly 20 days, or more than 30 days. So the answer is less than 15 days. No change in our scoreboard. Rental income includes cash and what else? Is it capital gains, fair market value services, loan payments, or farm subsidies? This is kind of tough, huh? So rental income, does it include capital gains? Is it fair market value services? Is it loan payments, or is it farm subsidies? So the correct answer is farm market value services. Right, are we going to see change? Yes, we are. Next, vacation home expense deductions depend on, is it on the location? Is it on mortgage size? Is it an owner's income? Or is it on rental versus personal days? Right, it is based on rental versus personal days. Nice one, Matt. Staying on top. Cherry is consistently in the scoreboard. So gross farm income includes all except government payments, livestock sales, crop income, or rental deposits. Gross farm income except rental deposits because it's going to be on Schedule E. Right, just like that. Finish na tayo. Matt's lead, top one, Mel. Oh, Mel nag-top 3. And Rex on the second spot. Good job, you guys. Congratulations. Let me just update our tracker. So we had Matt Monday and Wednesday. Mel on the second day, and then back to Matt on the third day. Isn't it amazing? Tanungin mo kung anong internet provider ni Matt at saka ni Mel. Right? Or magaling lang talaga sila. Right? Congratulations, guys. And how did that make you feel? The rest of you. Did it make you feel excited, nervous? Did it validate your learnings? Right? Na-reinforce pa yung mga natutunan so far? I hope it did, right? All right. So that was fun. I believe it was fun. Before we proceed with the meat of today's session, was there anything you would want to ask, questions, clarifications? There was a question earlier in the GC or in the Telegram, GC about including an inventory in the ending inventory if it has not been received or it was only invoiced. It was already recorded in the books as an accounts payable, but there appears to be no ownership yet of the inventory. So I guess we have established that it has to be excluded, right? And so a necessary adjustment has to be made in the books. In cases like that, as a tax preparer, we don't really concern about inventories anymore because we just look at what the client or the bookkeeper has provided us with, right? We don't go as far as auditing the beginning and the ending inventory because that's not really our role. Yes, Chris, go ahead.
Hi, Chris. I came across that issue when I was answering the GLIME question in the website, because the answer provided included the inventory, the raw materials for the raw materials that were already invoiced and payable, but were not yet received. So I was confused because what we have discussed, we exclude those items, but in the GLIME
Material.
example, it was included.
Yeah, it could be different assumption. It may not have been explicitly said there that there was an FOB shipping point.
Yeah, there
Um,
wasn't.
yeah, so it's kind of tricky, but in generally in the absence of any information as relates to the whether it's an FOB shipping point or FOB destination, there comes our professional judgment, which will base on the principle of conservatism, right? So if we include that in the ending inventory, so there will be an increase in the asset, right? And that increase in the ending inventory will will decrease our cost of sales, right? A decrease in cost of sales will increase our income.
Yeah.
So yeah, if we do that, we're not following the principles of conservatism when there's not really certainty or clarity in a given situation. So our position as accountants is generally to exclude that in the ending inventory. Again, in the absence of clarity, right? In the absence of clarity. But I think the questioner from GLIME may not have explicitly said there that there was an FOB shipping point that's involved,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know. It's not a perfect material. That's something that you can send GLIME a feedback on to provide clarity as to that question, so it doesn't confuse the learner, right?
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. So anything else or anyone else would want to ask a question? Are you good with that, Chris? Chris without an H.
Yeah, it's Chris. It's short for Crystalline.
Crystalline. Like
Yeah.
when I'm in Starbucks, pag sinasabi ko anong name mo for the cup, sir, sabi ko Chris. Klaro naman na
Yeah,
may
because it's easier
Chris.
to pronounce to say,
And
so
then I would
I chose
often
it.
get my name spelled with CRIS, right? I said Chris, not Chris. Anyway,
It's on the other way around for me, because I don't have H with my name, so always get something like a CH, or, and I was always tend to correct the person.
yeah. Alrighty, so let us get moving. I think last time we stopped at the second subtopic of the lesson number 3. So let us continue where we left off. And let me share my sound. You guys can see my screen, correct? So I think this is where we left off, right? The last MCQ for 3.2. So we are now going to continue with loss limitations. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Losses may be limited for rental properties. So let's take a look at what factors may limit those losses.
Sorry, I'm seeing hands raised, Chris and Cherry. Are you good, Chris?
Chris, I think you gave us an assignment last time.
Yeah, thank you for the reminder. What was that again? What was the assignment?
The last quiz, how to log it in ProConnect.
How to log in ProConnect.
How to input in ProConnect. The one with the vacation home.
Okay. Did you guys have an answer to that? Were you able to work on it? Anyone wants to share? Cherry, nakagawa ka.
Yes, I did. That's why I
Are you gonna volunteer in showing that to us?
yes, I can.
All right, great. Before we proceed, let's hear it from or see it from Cherry how she navigates ProConnect in entering information on rental uh, income and expenses in
Let
Schedule
me
B.
just open my ProConnect.
Sure,
There's the internet is slow.
sure. And while you're opening that, let me share to everybody that I tinkered with ProConnect earlier, and looks like it's going to be an exciting internship for tax preparation because I, or anybody for that matter, can actually create a tax return in their own account and then share that tax return with somebody else, right? So that means like I can create the return or the profile of the client, and then I can assign it to somebody else to prepare the tax return, and then I can check it once it's done. So without having to share credentials. And that's amazing because then we would be able to really give you real life exercises and real life review. And what's even more exciting is that if you guys get to become an intern for Brendan is using ProConnect. And then I got another one that has about 70 clients expected for next year, who's also going to be using ProConnect and TaxDome. So you guys have to really perform in this class because you will really learn a lot. I'm excited for next year. I'm excited for next year because there's Brendan, there's David, there's Christelle. I will not forget Christelle, guys. You met Christelle before, and she reached out to me last night, and she's transitioning from Drake. She was using Drake, but the problem with Drake is I have to access her remote desktop. So this time, or this for next year, she's transitioning to TaxSlayer. I know some of you have already explored TaxSlayer. It's also a web-based tax software. So she's transitioning into that software, and it'll be nice. I have not used TaxSlayer before, but like what I said, once you learn one tax software, it's relatively easy to learn another one. So there's going to be plenty of opportunity for you guys to really practice actual tax returns for next year. So galingan nyo at magpa-intern kayo. Okay? So that's your goal, right? Because if you only just go for training and you'd be on your own, pwede naman, right? Pwede naman na you would be on your own to apply in all the platforms out there. You may get a chance of getting hired because that's what we designed the course for, right? But having being an intern at doing actual tax returns would give you even more confidence. Okay, so and then internship with Wita as well for sure. We're gonna work that out. Okay, so you are ready, Cherry?
Okay, let me show my screen.
All right.
Okay. Are you seeing it, guys? So the question is, the scenario is we have a income of 10,000, then the mortgage interest is, I think it's 12,575 because the other is for personal use. So it's 12,575.
Mhm.
Then there's a repairs of 1.5, but this is also allocated and the depreciation is 150. So how would we record this or input this in ProConnect? So I did is by going to Schedule E.
Mhm.
Okay, so first I put on the description of the property, it's a waterfront vacation home. I just invented some details. Then a type of property, I choose the vacation or short-term rent. Okay. So I look for next is for the income statement. So the rents and royalties received for the gross income is 10,000. Then, sorry, I forgot. I also put here the number of days rented, 306 in the property information. You should put it 306. It's given in the scenario.
Yeah.
So here the income 10,000, and then for the expense we have mortgage is 12,575. It is allocated, but you know as per our last discussion we can only input expenses up to the portion of our income.
Yeah.
And since this is mortgage, so the 15,000, there's a part of like somewhat 2,000 plus for the personal use. So if you will opt it to be itemized, you can use the personal part as itemized deduction. Then
Mhm.
for this, it's 12,575. So the 2,575, I search it up with AI. I use Chat GPT. It says that it is a tier 1 expense. So it should not be carried over or what you call it, limitation.
Mhm.
So therefore I tried to navigate ProConnect and it's popping up like it's being carried over because it's a loss. So I put only manually the 10,000, which is the only expense that we can input in lieu of the 10,000 income received.
Yeah.
So next for the repairs, it is it should put it in the indirect field because it is allocated.
Mhm.
It's 1,500, so ProConnect will automatically compute it. Later you will see. And for the depreciation, we put it under, there's no depreciation here, so we put it in the deductions. Go to input return, deductions, then go to the depreciation. Sorry, I talk fast.
That's all right. You're good.
So here, wait, okay. You put the details, but for more detail, you can go to the details tab. So here, the rental property vacation, then the form, you should connect it to your Schedule E, the rental. And then the activity name, you should also connect it to the waterfront vacation home that you have created earlier.
Mhm.
Then I just assume that it's a building. And then don't forget the to tick mark if it's a taxpayer or the spouse. Okay.
Mhm.
So I invented because ProConnect will not pop up the depreciation if one field is left
Missing. Yeah.
not input some details. So I invented the date that it is placed for service. Then choose the method. Usually the cost, you put the amount of the cost of the item, but for this, let's leave it blank due to the scenario given. So the method is the makers 27.5 years straight line. It is for the building. So life class recovery 27.5.
Okay, hold on there, Cherry, just to add something.
Yep.
For the rental property that is residential, it's 27 and a half. If it's commercial, it's 39 years. So that's one thing you need to remember. If it's residential, it is always 27 and a half. And if it's commercial, it's 39 years.
Okay. So I can, because this is commercial, right? So
And that's residential, I think. That's vacation.
yeah,
home.
it's the vacation home.
Yeah.
This is correct.
So that
27.
is correct.
Okay. So here you input the current depreciation or amortization. It's given 150. So that's it. I also want to
Mhm.
yes.
I need to add something there, Cherry. You see there on the depreciation, you put 150, right? One
Yes.
is equal to none if you put anything that's an override. You put their override because you did not put any cost
Yes.
above, right? You did not put any cost on the asset, so it will not calculate for the depreciation. So that's why you're putting an override of 150.
150. I tried inventing a cost and it gives me a different amount. So
Yeah, correct. Because
yes, I removed the cost
150,
here.
I think if you can work it out later, 150 is, let me see, calculator. 150 divided by or times 27.5. So the cost is likely about 4,125. So you can try that later if it's gonna compute 150. Because in real practice, guys, we don't do overrides. Okay, we don't do overrides. But good job, Cherry, in putting that those information in the depreciation, because that's what we always have to do, right? That's what we always have to do when we depreciate a rental property or any property for that matter. We do not just put a number on the depreciation field. We must always compute for the depreciation by entering the asset information. Okay.
Sir
Go ahead.
JB. JB.
Yeah, you got it right, Chris. It's 4275. I did that manually during our discussion ni Cherry last night.
Okay, that's good.
I asked JB for an opinion regarding the depreciation because I can't compute the depreciation, so I asked for his opinion. So Hans, I want to comment also JB for helping me out here.
Nag-ano pala kayo ha?
Yeah.
Nag-work pala kayo offline. Talaga kayo ha? Good job.
So next, so after we input the expenses, let's go back to income and Schedule E.
Mhm.
So that's for the income statement. Then, so there's no oil and gas. Let's go to personal use of property. So the number of days personal use, so you also input it, it's 59 days.
Mhm.
Then here, the disallowed vacation home expenses. So I asked this through our friends with ChatGPT and the Perplexity. So they told me that the disallowed vacation home, this is the limitation. So you will put it, you will put here the limitation. So the depreciation 150 and the repairs that is allocated is 1,258.
Mhm.
It's the 59 over 306 divided by 365 days. So it's allocated.
Mhm.
Okay. So that would come up with 1408 or 1407. Then let's leave it here. So passive losses. So this is for prior years. So for next tax year, so that 1408, you will put it here in the prior year so that it will generate the form 85. I forgot the form. It's for the carryover. It's like form E. Wait, it's here. Because when I did this, I'm seeing a form for the carryover and it's like form 85 something and JB doesn't have that. So I research again and oh, it's for the prior year. So for next year, you will put it here so that you can generate that form. Yes, Chris.
Question with regards to the disallowed vacation home expenses. Is the 150 depreciation and the other amount the whole expense for the property for the whole year, or is it only the portion related to the personal use?
Yeah, in the scenario question here, the depreciation is for the rental period. So it is for the rent. So you will record this as a whole 150. Then for the repairs, we allocate that 1.5. It's 1,000. Yeah, the amount is 1,000. I forgot. 1,258 is allocated, but the depreciation 150 because in the scenario it is noted that it is for the rental period. Okay, Chris.
Yeah. So how did you put that 1,258 again, Cherry?
Yeah, the 1,258 is the 1,500 repairs allocated because 306 is the only business days over
Okay,
365.
306 by 365. Okay, yeah. And we're not it's being carried forward because the income was only 10,000, right?
Yes, it
Okay.
should be carried forward. So that's it. I think I already. So to check, you click check return. Go to Forms US. Okay. So you go to Schedule E. So there you will see that the fair rental days 306, then the personal days 59 is showing. Then here you will see your income. And then the mortgage interest 10,000. So what I did first, I put everything like 12,575 and it produces a carryover a loss of 2,575. So I researched it should only be up to the income. So 10,000, 10,000. The 2,500 excess mortgage expense is what you call this? Is it is disallowed for a carryover. So we only assume the 10,000. Then ProConnect automatically, so allocate the 1.5 that we input earlier, it automatically computes to 1,258. The depreciation here is 150. And then remember that we input the limitation. It will be in the line 19, 1408. So total expense 10, so it will be 0. So next that you will check is the statement. So statement 1, it will show you the disallowed vacation expenses that is the 1408. You can carry over this. So you can see it in the worksheet here. Ayan. Mortgage interest, 10,000. Repairs, then the disallowed vacation home expenses, 1408. Depreciation, 150. Oh, these are others. Yeah. So the carryover, you will see it for next year. You have to input it. The 1408 in the Schedule F. So it is really a must to check your previous year. So if you will make your 2025, you have to check this 2024 and you will see that you have this disallowed vacation expenses 1408. You have to input it in your passive losses carry over here. You will put it here in the operating and it will create a report of carryover. Yes, Chris.
Sorry, but I can't quite understand because yesterday I thought we were told that not for profit rental income we may deduct losses, but we cannot carry forward the loss in the succeeding years. But
Yeah.
you mentioned that we can manually input the loss from the previous year that is in excess of the loss of the income.
Did you mean the mortgage?
No, the loss that you mentioned that will be carried over for the next year is the 1,408, I think.
No, it's actually not. It is a carried over amount to the next tax year as expense.
Mhm.
Wait, I think I get Chris' point because in your example, Cherry, I think the carry forward was only 1258, was it? Or 1408? Go to
1408.
go to check return. If I remember it right. I'm not sure. And then go to forms, yeah. And then show us that worksheet again. Or yeah, that statements.
Statements, yeah.
Oh,
1408.
1408. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was 1408. That will be carried forward to the next year, Chris. And that was what was shown
This
yesterday in
is
the
expense,
computation.
not income. Vacation expense that would be carried forward. Because you cannot deduct it because it's your income has already has the mortgage 10,000 has already, you know, zero out your income. So next,
Is the logic behind this because it is pertaining to the personal use expenses?
no, this is the business use, the 1408, the 150 depreciation and the allocated 1,200. The
Yeah, the personal
personal,
expenses were not taken into
yeah, the
consideration.
personal use was already disregarded.
Yeah, because that's how that computed. The 1258 was prorated, proration of the 1,500. Um, the 1258 is actually just 83.8%. So the
Okay,
other
thank you.
percentage was for personal, and that was not included there.
Yeah, so that's it.
And if I may just add, before I forget, on your question, Chris, regarding the glide material, I think there might be a bit confusion there because I read the question. It's actually more on the seller's perspective than on the buyer's perspective. So I think the reason why you got confused is you were looking at the buyer's perspective rather than on the seller's perspective. So on the seller's perspective, it was still included in their ending inventory because it is still their asset. It is still part of their inventory. But on the part of the buyer, that should be excluded. Anyways, the add ko lang yun. Baka malito kayo. Baka makalimutan ko lang kasi. So, was there anything else you want to add, Cherry?
And that's it, Chris.
All right. Thank you so much for
Thanks to
being
JB for having
proactive.
me.
And yeah, thank you. You already know me by now that I could be very forgetful. There's just so many things going on, and sometimes I don't forget everything or I don't remember everything. But that goes to show that you've been learning. You know? If you guys were wondering why Cherry is knowledgeable with ProConnect already, is because I think she was in day 2 of our tax preparation for individual course. So if you guys are feeling missed out, don't worry. You will also get that feeling of familiarity as we go along. I mean, they were in the same position as you were for 4 or maybe 5 months ago. So yeah, that's a benefit of you joining and religiously attending the class and also studying. You will really learn. And again, good job there, Cherry. And just to add on the mortgage, a portion of the personal would be on a Schedule A, right? It would be on a Schedule A if the taxpayer opts to itemize its deduction or his or her deduction. All right. So anyways, guys, there will be more exercises on rental. What I just like you to really remember there is um, the expenses when there are days that the rental property was used for personal use. Hindi mo pwedeng i-deduct lahat sa business expenses. And you typically ask this in the tax organizer. So when it is your first time to prepare a tax return, or even other tax firm, even if the client is already a repeat client, we always send a tax organizer. And on the tax organizer, particularly on Schedule E, we ask how many days it was rented and how many days it was used for personal. Right? That's again part of the questionnaire. And then on the part where you shared, Jerry, on the carryover of 1408, if you're using the same software from previous year to the current year, when you roll forward the return, automatic all the carryovers will be there too. However, if you're using one software from previous year and another on the current year, then you have to be very careful with looking at the carry forwards, because you will have to enter those manually into the new tax software. Okay? Or in case the client is a new client, right? So that's the reason why we always ask a copy of the prior year's return, yung PDF na copy, because my client will always have a copy of the prior year's return. And then we always look for the portion of carryovers. Make sense? Anyways, as we go along, we will be providing you with checklist on what to ask clients when you're engaging with them, either for the first time or even if it's a repeat client. I would be probably be able to show you a copy of a tax organizer. All righty. We're good. Again, thank you, Sherry, and thank you, Chris, for that for the questions. It goes to show that you're very interested, and I like that. So now let's move on, unless there's any more question. We're good pa naman. So you guys are seeing my screen. I'll go back to where I was earlier on loss limitations. This is also a very good thing that you need to learn.
Losses may be limited for rental properties. So let's take a look at what losses may be limited for rental properties. So let's take a look at what factors may limit those losses. If taxpayers have a loss from rental activities, those losses may be limited based on a couple of different rules. At-risk rules are applied first. If some of the rental real estate activity investment is not at risk, that rule will apply. Then, passive activity limits are reviewed. Rental real estate activities are generally considered passive and are not deductible without having other passive activity income to use as an offset against those losses. Now, most often, losses are limited to the amount you have at risk in the activity at the end of the tax year. At risk considers the amount of cash and adjusted basis of other property contributed into the activity. Taxpayers are also at risk for amounts borrowed to use in the activity, but only if they are personally liable for repaying the debt, or if the amount borrowed is secured by the property. A taxpayer is not considered at risk for amounts protected against loss through non-recourse financing. Non-recourse financing does not hold the taxpayer personally liable for the debt obligation. It is borrowed in connection with the activity, secured by the property, not convertible to an ownership interest or loaned or guaranteed by any governmental entity, and no one is personally liable. Passive activity losses or deductions are usually limited as well. Passive activities are defined as such when the taxpayer does not materially participate. To see the list of characteristics of material participation, review your Gleim Knowledge Transfer Outline to see those particular options. Generally, a taxpayer may only use losses from passive activities to offset income from passive activities. Any excess may be carried forward to future tax years. One main exception to this rule is when passive activity is rental real estate with active participation. Active participation is a less strict than material participation requirement. An active participant is a taxpayer who makes management decisions, Rental real estate activities where the taxpayer is an active participant may deduct against ordinary income up to $25,000 in losses. This amount is limited based on the amount of modified adjusted gross income. There is a phase out when that modified adjusted gross income is anywhere between $100,000 and $150,000. Any losses disallowed may be carried forward to future years. In addition to at-risk and passive activity limits, excess business loss rules may limit the amount of deductible losses. Any limited losses on the result of the excess business loss limit may be carried forward as well and deducted in a subsequent year. All right, don't let your understanding of this topic be.
Right. So one thing to remember there is that on a rental income on a Schedule E, the maximum loss that can be applied against active income is 25,000. And that is if yung income, yung AGI ni taxpayer is between 100 to 150. Depende din sa filing status. If more than 150K na yung income, no, there will be zero deduction from the active income. So yung kaninang example ni Cherry, I think because walang income, kaya na-carry forward yung entire 1458 ba yun? But take it as another assignment, Cherry. Try to put even just like 10,000 of wages or W-2 into that particular client and see if that entire 1458 gets offset by that 10,000 of active income. So that's the premise of loss limitation. Again, because it's on a schedule E, right? But if kung Schedule C yan, walang limitation. It will be 100% offset against active income. And kung wala ng active income, because the Schedule C loss is more than the AGI or the adjusted gross income, then whatever loss in the Schedule C will be carried forward to the following year. Right? So yan yung kaibahan ng Schedule C versus Schedule E. Right? So that's why you need to determine if active participation ba. Right? Classic example there is, for example, Donald Trump, right? One of the issue that was raised by the Democratic Party during the election was that Donald Trump only paid, a very tiny amount of taxes, and he is a billionaire. He makes billions of income. And how come he's only paying, 100,000 in taxes? Because Donald Trump is a real estate practitioner. Right? So he's a real estate practitioner, and kung real estate practitioner ka, yung income mo is nasa Schedule C. So kung ang W-2 ni Donald Trump is if he's being paid by any of his companies are in millions, but yung losses niya, yung paper losses niya from the depreciation of those various properties are way more than his active income, then he will naturally incur losses, right? So yun. And the only income that he was probably taxable with was his other income, like dividends, interest, capital gains. But on his active income, he was not taxed. And was that an argument that was valid? I don't think so, right? Because if you're rich, you can afford to hire really good lawyers, right? Really good lawyers or CPA lawyers for that matter, who can do tax strategies for you. And that's what he did, and he can afford them. Another case in point was the case of ABS-CBN, right? So in the Congress, they were investigated why they're paying only very minimal amount of taxes. And in fact, there was a tweet ba yun, if you're following the social media back then, there was a tweet from Annette Gozon, right? The daughter of, the owner of GMA, because GMA, prior to the disallowance of the franchise of ABS, would report a lower income than ABS. but they tend to pay more taxes than ABS. And so sabi niya, parang nagpaparinig lang naman siya, that how are they able to do it, reporting this amount of income and paying so much less tax than GMA? And I think that was a dumb question to ask, right? Coming from a lawyer. Well, ABS was able to afford really good accountants to plan their taxes. That's called tax strategies, right? And sometimes when you look at the financials, you may be looking at negative bottom lines, but that's not what you really look at. If you're an investor, you don't look at the net income. You look at the EBITDA, right? So earnings before interest and tax and depreciation and amortization. That's what you look at because that's the operating income, right? All others are just paper deductions, and that is where the tax accountants are going around the tax laws to avoid getting or paying good amount of taxes. And sometimes may mga taxes pa nga na dinidefer, right? Like instead of paying taxes now, you defer paying taxes to a later period because that's for cash flow purposes, right? So instead of paying the government money in terms of taxes, why not use that money to reinvest and make it grow, right? So that's the role of tax strategists, and that's what you want to learn as well, and that's what I'm interested to learn as well. And like yesterday, I just want to share with you, we had a discussion with Sam about a certain tax strategy. They just also learned, I think, very recently, and it's very interesting, right? So I felt like now I'm able to understand these things because I start as a tax preparer, right? And meron pa tong habit si Sam na he would put you on the spot. He would ask you questions na you have to know on top of your head, right? And buti na lang nakasagot ako. Kinabahan din ako, no? Because it was a group meeting. It was not just between the two of us. So, and he asked me about IRA. Yeah, kasi IRA distribution yung tax strategy. And so, things like that, that's where we will progress to moving forward because that's what we provide so much more value than being a mere tax preparer. Because as a tax preparer, what you do is you are provided with the tax documents, you prepare the tax return, and then you file the tax return. That's it. But if you're someone who knows tax strategies, then you can tell your clients that, hey, you have made so much money this year. Make sure that first you have to make estimated tax payments. Next is you look at contributing to your retirement accounts, right? Or make it could be an investment to solar, it could be charitable donation. There's a lot of tax strategies. And you know what? The best thing is some of you are already bookkeepers, right? You're bookkeeping for your clients. So and there is already a trust factor between you and the client. Now, if you then become a tax preparer, you will be soon in a position to make tax strategies suggestions to your client, right? Like, client, I'm not seeing that you're paying yourself a salary in your S corp, or client, I don't seem to see that you're contributing to your IRA, right? I'm not seeing any contributions to a charitable organization. So you may be missing on a lot of tax strategies, and you're paying unnecessarily a huge amount of tax to the government, right? So 1 year, 2 years as a tax preparer, you can say these things to your to your client. Your client would love you, right? Because you may be able to save your client thousands of dollars, right? Because now you're able to use your knowledge in bookkeeping because, again, you're managing the books, right? You know what comes in and comes out of the bank accounts. And you don't seem to see any account with Fidelity. You don't seem to see any account with Schwab, right? How come there's only bank accounts? But, on the bank accounts, there's only business related expenses, right? So again, that should be what your mindset is going to be set into. So don't just, as early as now, don't just stick with being a tax preparer, but i-goal nyo na later down the road, you become a tax strategist. And in all fairness, mas straightforward ang tax strategies sa US kaysa sa atin, di ba? Sa Philippines, ano ba mga tax strategies ang pwede nating ma suggest sa ating mga clients? I don't know. I mean, it's been a while that I took Philippine taxation, so I really don't know tax strategies in the Philippines other than misreporting the income, right? And yung pinaka-primary tax strategy dito sa atin. But again, it's not allowed in the US, right? Because everything nata-track yan. Like later on, you would know. Rental. Anong source ng rental? 1099 MISC, right? Bank transactions. So hindi pwedeng under-declare si taxpayer ng kanyang rent kasi nga may 1099 MISC yon. Example, meron kang condo and then hindi ikaw yung nagmamanage ng condo mo for Airbnb, someone else is managing it for you. That someone else is a property manager, right? I think some of you here are bookkeepers doing property management, and you know that, right? So you do the bookkeeping, and at the end of the year, that property management company will issue the real estate investor a form called 1099 MISC. So that's declared before the IRS yung income. So pag nag-declare ka ng income mo, dapat yung rental income mo should be similar to what was declared in the 1099 MISC or higher. It cannot go lower. Kasi automatic, magsisend ng notice of discrepancy and IRS. Sobrang bilis. And I think Kelly and Andrew would already know that because kakafile lang namin ng tax returns for WITA, but I think in the past few weeks, we've already been receiving a lot of tax notices. So ganon ka-efficient ang IRS. And again, this is where you will appreciate you really being a tax preparer because you go by the books. No, you don't do magic. You cannot do magic because it's gonna backfire. I'm telling you, it's gonna backfire on you. You're gonna be creating your own, your own grave. You'll be digging your own grave if you don't do the tax return of your clients faithfully. You know what I mean? And it's not even a problem for U.S. clients to provide you documents or be faithful in their tax filing as well, because at the end of the day, sila naman yung mananagot, right? Sila naman yung mananagot sa IRS. But if you are their tax preparer, of course, you're accountable din sa client mo. But before the IRS, yung client mo yung accountable sa kanila. You know what I mean? So, kailangan mo pa rin talagang, you need to do what you need to do. You got to do what you need to do in preparing taxes para you don't lose clients. You know what I mean? So guess we're good with that, right? On a loss limitation for rental property. Tandaan nyo lang yung 25,000 na limitation for deduction and the 150 to 150 na AGI limitation. All right, let's move on.
Limited. Thanks for watching. Heathcliff and Gertrude file a joint income tax return for the current year. During the current year, Heathcliff received wages of $120,000 and taxable Social Security benefits of $5,000. Gertrude actively participated in a rental real estate activity in which she had a $30,000 loss. They had no other income during the current year. How much of the rental loss may they deduct on their current year income tax return? So it's kind of a fun question because sometimes writing a test is trying to just get you, it's almost giving you hints to say, do you remember the rules here and how to apply the rule? So what's interesting to me is nowhere in our 4 options do we see $30,000, right? So it's almost like a hint to say, hey, there's a limit and there's a special rule that's supposed to apply here. We affectionately call this rule the mom and pop exception. And the mom and pop exception allows up to $25,000 of losses to be deducted against your ordinary income as opposed to being stuck as passive losses. Now, obviously, the $25,000 is more than $30,000, and we even see kind of a hint back to it in item D showing $25,000. But for the mom and pop exception, there is a magical number, and that magical number is $100,000 of income. And when we have a taxpayer with more than $100,000 of AGI, adjusted gross income, there is a 50 cents on the dollar phase out for the $25,000. So now what's their income? If we go back to here, we have 120 and then taxable Social Security benefits of $5,000. You don't include the Social Security activity because it's not earned income. It's only going to be determined without regard to the Social Security benefits. So the $120,000, and we'll subtract out that magical threshold of $100,000, which doesn't change. That has remained fixed for a number of years now. We subtract that out and we see that they are $20,000 over the threshold. So it's a 50 cents on the dollar phase out. So really, if we just multiply the $20,000 by 50%, they are $10,000 phased out. Phased out. So what does that mean? Well, they could deduct $25,000, but they have to take the phase out down, which means the most they could possibly deduct is $15,000, which sure enough, there's our answer.
Right. On that question, asan na yun? Mabilis. Kasi
Heathcliff
I
and
encounter a lot
Gertrude.
of these questions in the practice exam. 100 to 150 ang phase out. So pag it goes above 100, you start to phase out. But if it goes beyond 150, then it's completely phased out, meaning you can no longer claim any deduction, right? So between 100 to 150, pwede pang mag-deduct.
Passive activity rules apply to. All right, we've got 4 options here, and sometimes a tactic for going through these questions is to try to get the relation between these different options, right? How are they related? How are they similar? And if we take a look at these 3 different options, there should be 2 in particular that are kind of screaming at you. And the reason why they should be screaming at you, B and C, the reason they should be screaming at you is because they both have something very much in common. And that is the fact that they are flow-through entities. Partnerships and S corporations do not pay tax. So they don't have tax, and therefore the individuals or the taxpayers to which the distributions flow up may have passive activity rules applied to them. So it's kind of interesting that partnerships and S corporations are related. Grantor trusts are also disregarded entities, and they're generally considered to be one and the same with the grantor individual. They don't pay tax either. So if these 3 have that in relation that they don't pay tax, what kind of sticks out then are closely held corporations. Corporations, we know, are a taxable entity and do have, interestingly, passive activity rules that do apply to them, specifically for that reason. The passive activity rules apply to individuals, estates, trusts, personal service corporations, and closely held corporations, and that's one of our answers.
Right, closely held corporation. That's one of the C corp. So C corp, as we already know, is taxed as an entity. Hindi siya pass through or flow through entity. All right. Question, guys. We have just completed section study unit number 3. So I guess we still have time. It's 8:30. So you can still cover business expenses. I think marami itong business expenses, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so 5. All right. So compensation, COGS, interest expense, taxes. Apat na pala. Do you have questions, clarifications? Let me check on the chat. Right. Tax loopholes are taken advantage by the rich. Yeah. Tax avoidance nga po. They pay talented CPAs. It is, I get next. Right. Donations to charity to have deductions in taxes, yes. One thing that I'll look forward to sharing with you is a strategy called leverage charitable donation. I have not seen this in any of the WITA returns, but guess what? You may be encountering this when you work as intern for David. US billionaire create their own charitable institutions to claim huge tax deductions. Yeah. And even in the Philippines, they do that too. Because I think in the Philippines, charitable donation is a tax strategy. Sino nagta-tax strategy dito sa Philippines? Yung mga CPA practitioners, do you do that? Do you do tax planning for your rich clients? Alam ko trust trust is a tax strategy. But I don't know how that works here. Anyways, so let's move on now to study unit number 4 for business expenses.
Business expenses are perhaps one of the most scrutinized areas of the tax return by the IRS. Why? Well, because expenses lower taxable income, thus less tax is paid when a business takes expenses. As you would imagine, the enrolled agent exam may then assess business expense rules with extra attention. In this study unit, you'll learn about limits around what compensation can be deducted. We'll also see how COGS, or cost of goods sold, impacts sellers of inventory. Some businesses incur rent or interest expense. Interest expense, in particular, has some limits you'll want to note. And finally, some good news. A business can deduct taxes as an expense. Well, some taxes. Let's get into it.
Right. Some taxes, again, I think I've already mentioned this to some of you. I think particularly in the interns for our QuickBooks. The interns for the first set of interns that we had. Anything that is paid to the IRS is federal tax, and those are not business expense. It cannot be business expense. State taxes, though, can be business expense. Right? Magkaiba yung federal at saka state.
Business expenses paying folks to work in a business is very common. In tax, we have two overarching rules for deductible expenses. Ordinary and necessary, and reasonable in amount. Let's explore what this means from a compensation perspective. So first, a deduction is generally allowed for salaries, wages, and other forms of payment made to officers and employees. However, the compensation must meet several tests in order to be deductible. So what are these tests? Well, first we have ordinary and necessary, and that means that the payments must be ordinary and necessary expenses directly related to the trade or business. So for example,
Right. Ano ba yan? Nag-slow down na naman aking internet. Play natin from the beginning. By the way, while we wait for that to load, lahat pa dito meron ng ProConnect account. So make sure you guys have created a ProConnect account, okay? If you have not, merong tutorial again on the shared file. Because I'm thinking on the weekend, since wala naman tayong ganap except if you want to take part on the internship exam for QBO, for bookkeeping. I may give you an assignment, particularly on Schedule E, para ma-apply natin yung loss limitations. Okay, so I would look for a material that I can share with you so you can start preparing a tax return. And if you feel like you need help with navigating ProConnect, one thing I'm thinking you could do is reach out to a friend in the community. They may be able to show you, or if you like to do it on your own, there are several lessons in the individual tax prep course that we have in YouTube where we did navigate the ProConnect. So that could help you in you exploring the features of ProConnect. Okay, kasi if we don't get to practice a tax return, you would not learn how to become a tax preparer. Because again, if you notice the materials that are in EA, they're purely theoretical. Wala siyang connection doon sa any of the tax software or any of the tax form. Okay.
Paying folks to work in a business is very common. In tax, we have two overarching rules for deductible expenses: ordinary and necessary, and reasonable in amount. Let's explore what this means from a compensation perspective. So, first, a deduction is generally allowed for salaries, wages, and other forms of payment made to officers and employees. However, the compensation must meet several tests in order to be deductible. So, what are these tests? Well, first we have ordinary and necessary, and that means that the payments must be ordinary and necessary expenses directly related to the trade or business. So, for example,
something is off with my connection. Wala naman si Zara. Wala namang salary. Ako lang naman dito. Cherry, do you want to share? Maybe your connection is better. Mine is terrible. I don't want to waste
Okay,
your
I
time.
will try.
Maga pa naman. Let me stop sharing. I don't know what's going on with Globe. Okay pa kayo, guys? JR, why are you asking for PTET? That's very advanced.
Chris, excuse me.
Sure.
Regarding the QBO exam on Saturday, someone asking if what platform we are using. Is it in Kahoot?
It would be Kahoots, right? So I'm not making a separate announcement on that because I would want you to finish all the way to the very end because I have specific instructions there for you guys, right? So for those who are interested to take on that exam on Saturday, for you to know more, you have to finish the course in the Kajabi. Sorry, in the Borderless website. So erase yung Kajabi because ako confused yung mga tao. Kajabi is the website, right? So Borderless Accountants website. You gotta finish that first, and then towards the end, you will see their instructions on how we can move forward. Okay, and then from there, I can make the announcement. Okay. If you cannot have the time to take the exam now, no worries because Brendan is gonna launch more internship slots, right? So for this run of internship, he's probably gonna pick 5 people, or we're gonna have only maximum of 5, and that time would be 5 to 7. So 5 p.m. to 7 because he's in Hawaii, right? So the timing in Hawaii would be 11 p.m. his time to 1 in the morning. Okay. But if again you cannot make it because hindi kayo nakatapos nung course kasi I was also very late in announcing it because we only had just had the meeting today. And I just had to also make that announcement as soon as the meeting was done, because I would want you to start doing the internship as early as you can, to maximize the time that we have between November and December, so that you'll be ready to explore on possible employment. And you can even be employed by Brendan himself, because he has got a lot of clients already. So for those who are actively looking for a job, kasi wala naman kayong, you have a lot of time to spare, this could be for you. Okay, and I feel like this time Brendan is headed to the right direction, kasi medyo ano din yan si Brendan. Ang tawag dito? A little jumpy and mabilis magbago yung isip, but I think he's got more structure now. And if you watch again the Loom recording that I shared in the TG channel, he shared some insights on how he's approaching even the mapping of the chart of accounts from QuickBooks to ProConnect. I think that's very nice one to learn, for especially for bookkeepers. He's gonna train you on, Keeper, ProConnect for tax, and then you may even be lucky to get introduced to Juno as well. And I think he's got one tax software that I would also love to explore, Tally. So Tally is used for tax estimates. So yeah, there's a lot of things I think that you can learn from him. So yeah, if you're again really interested in pursuing this, just finish that course in the website. Okay. Wait lang, hindi ko nabalikan yung question mo, Kali. Alam mo yung question mo? Nakalimutan ko. If I answered that correctly. So, Kali John, are you still there?
Yeah. Yes, Chris. Thank you.
Na-address ko yung question mo. Nakalimutan ko
Yes, it's income. Thank you, Chris.
All right, my pleasure. So we still have time, Cherry. You wanna, ano lang naman to, 9 minutes pala tong compensation. Sige, next time na nga lang tayo magano. Kasi baka gahulin tayo sa oras, Cherry. 15 minutes. Sige lang, isang slide. That's okay. Hanggang matapos lang tong compensation deductibility.
Okay, Chris. There are some questions in the chat box too.
Meron ba? Sige. Let's just make the time to answer questions. Kasi I also have to leave early. Kasi nga, timing naman na may pinapagawa si Kendall sa akin na estimate. And I don't know, it's just really how God works, no? When Brendan was showing me the system Tally, it's called Tally, Tally. I feel like that's what I needed. That's what I needed for the activity that Kendall want me to work on. And I would have to explore it before the meeting at 9 with her. So I need to leave early. So let's see, you have questions in the chat. How about if we already have the bookkeeping certificate prior to joining BA? I don't know. It would be a breeze for you to answer the questions that you have there. Because again, the reason why we launched the bookkeeping certification course is that I cannot really know for sure if one is really knowledgeable with bookkeeping, right? And that's even there was even a time when I wanted to join a bookkeeping course run by TBSA, and I was advised otherwise, because I wanted to test how effective the course is. Because we don't want to recommend people to other firms just because they have the certificate, right? We really want to know if they really are knowledgeable. And this is our way of knowing it. Like if you participated in our bookkeeping course, and if you pass the quizzes, that gives me confidence that right? And especially if you pass the certification, that we will launch, right? Because again, a lot of people can be certified, but as to determining whether they really are knowledgeable, it's hard to tell, right? Unless you already start working with them. So to answer your question, Jonah, unfortunately, I would not be honoring that certificate. So yeah, if you're interested in taking the certification by borderless accountants, you need to take the certification that we will be um, initiating. Okay. JR, let's not talk pass through just yet. It's a little too advanced. Joseph, again, if you have no access to ProConnect just yet, go to the shared file. There's a link to access, or there's a link for you to get guidance on how you can sign up for ProConnect. Do we also need to finish the individual tax prep course in the BA website? Not really, because we have a different certification for the individual tax course. I would also want to launch that as soon as possible, but we're still developing the quizzes there. So there's still an ongoing, because at this point, I really want to spend time teaching or mentoring few of you to prepare individual tax returns, because again, that would prepare you to help out in next year's tax season. So November, December, that would be the best time to really learn actual practice. Must be BA's exclusive certification. Grabe naman yung BA's exclusive certification. Well, yes. Is this the Brendan of Nahastone you're talking about? Yes, Jovel. You have worked with Brendan before? Let's talk offline, Jovel. Jonah, how about if we already have the bookkeeping certificate? Right, that's already answered, no problem. I just started learning US bookkeeping. When will be the next batch of examination for certification? We will announce that pace, right? We will announce. I don't have a schedule yet, so the only one that we have a schedule for is on Saturday. Again, if you cannot make it, no problem. There will be more as we go along, but there will be more as we go along. But it will be pre-announced, and hopefully we can announce it ahead of time so you guys can prepare. Jovel, yeah, message me, Jovel, if you want to talk about Nahastone. Anyways, any more question, guys? It's 8:48. How do you guys find today's session? Some I already saw, some are overwhelmed with information. And I know it's a lot, especially for non-practitioners. Then again, what I always say is that just keep going, okay? Things are gonna make sense eventually. Right now, it may be too much, just because it's your intro, right? You have, I would say, you're not able to piece the puzzle together yet, right? So you're just having, few pieces pa lang. So you're not yet able to at least get a good sense of what the picture may look like, right? So again, just keep going, right? If your goal is to be borderless, right? That's what I always wonder, right? Like borderless, meaning why would you want to be borderless? Meaning you're free from anything that's holding you back from saying that you're free, right? For me, again, borderless is being free to go anywhere I want to go, right? Not be contained in one space. Kasi hindi ako yung taong hindi mapakali sa isang lugar, right? That's for me. And of course, financial freedom, because you cannot just go anywhere with you not being able to financially afford it. So whatever it is that you think could help you gain freedom, one of that is US tax. Why US tax? Because it's really lucrative, right? It's really lucrative as opposed, again, to doing books, as opposed to doing virtual assisting. And you would know why. because mahirap siyang pasukin, right? Mahirap siyang pasukin, but once nakapasok ka na, right? Once nakapasok ka na, you know, you will appreciate it, and you will learn more. And as you learn more, you become expensive. You get what I'm saying? So, dun yun. And what borderless accountant is doing is really help you get to the door, right? And maybe once you're in the door, we may even assist you to go into the different parts of the house, right? Because we're gonna be sticking around. So yeah, that's a goal for everyone. And if you feel that it's too much, it really is, right? Nothing worthwhile comes easy, right? Wala namang magandang bagay na nakukuha mo ng madalian, right? So you always have to exert effort, invest resources in it for you to be able to, get to where you want to go. And in fact, you're actually luckier than myself because back in my days, wala namang ganito, right? And you're also luckier because you're actually learning it for free, right? Some others would charge you what? I think Bedrock is charging 5,500 if you're following their page. They're charging 5,500 to learn taxation, and some of you guys here have already taken that course, and there's not so many good feedback there, right? So even before learning, you're already being asked to pay. That's not what we do here. We provide you as much support as possible, resources as much as possible, but we don't charge you upfront, right? Because again, we want to democratize the US tax profession. It's for everybody, right? But there are some point, guys, where you will need to be invested too, right? But that's going to be optional, right? You will learn along the way that there's no such thing as free lunch, right? So it's always a give and take. But what I can promise you is that the learnings here are all going to be free, right? Learnings here are all going to be free. A lot of it would also be depending on, your effort, and also the direction you want to take, right? So there would be some of you who would learn from our resources and you can go your own way, right? But there were some of you who would want to continue your journey with borderless accountants, then you are very much welcome. But we don't promise that it's going to be entirely free the whole journey, right? Because again, at one point, you also need to give, right? Again, there's no such thing as free lunch. It's it's too good to be true. But again, at least what we're doing, we're trying to give you right now, and in the next 30 days until you learn, it's gonna be free. That one I promise. And people can tell, right? Because natapos natin ang individual tax prep, natapos natin ang bookkeeping, everything is in YouTube, and some of it are already in the website. You're not charged anything there, right? And I don't think anybody is doing that in 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 this day and age. Right. So you guys are still okay? I'm new to taxation. I find it really mind-blowing, but I am trying to digest every new word slowly and easy. We'll definitely watch the replay over and over again. Yeah. Cherry's saying, don't worry, almost all experience what you're feeling right now. It will eventually be okay. I just stay consistent with your studies. Good luck. Yeah, thank you, Cherry, for that reassurance. And Cherry was one of those who had no experience with tax as well. But now she's very comfortable navigating ProConnect. And it's only been what, again, 4 months, little less than 5 months. And she's not alone. There's JB, there's her mom Shawnee. There's a lot of them actually. And if you're just new and you feel like Wang, dumbfounded with too much information, ganyan talaga. You just have to continue. Okay. With that said, guys, it's 8:55, so let's stop here. I hope my connection will cooperate tomorrow. Otherwise, nandito naman si Cherry. Cherry, back up ka na lang sa akin tomorrow if in case my connection would not cooperate again.
Sure, Chris.
Hopefully it does though. But with that said, thank you guys for tonight, and let's end tonight's session with a prayer. So our prayer lead for the day again is Angel Rain. Angel, you're still here.
I think umalis na po siya, Chris. Kasi may emergency.
Okay. Aya, is Aya here? Can you close the prayer instead? Dito pa si Aya.
Yes, please. Say the
Right.
prayer.
Na-voluntold ka, Aya. Sorry.
It's okay.
All right.
Let's close. Lord, thank you for tonight, for time of learning, for enabling us, Lord, to understand to learn another topic for the business taxation. I pray, Lord, that you will help us, especially those newbies like us, Lord, that you will give us understanding and all of us retention of the lessons that we are right now. I pray that you will be with us, bring us back tomorrow night. I thank you, Lord, for this opportunity of this training, and we give you thanks in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Right. Thank you, Aya. Thank you guys for the night again, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Any questions, raise them in the TG chat. Okay. You all have a good one.
Thank you, guys.
Recording stopped.
And bye for now.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Chris.
Chris. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Chris.
Chris.
Guys.
Thank you, everybody.